Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. You're joining us on the latest episode of Bankable, and this time we have a non-banker joining us. This is the first time that we're talking to somebody outside the Indian banking system, but still within the Indian financial system. Joined by Mr. George Alexander Muthoot, the Managing Director of Muthoot Finance. Welcome, sir, to Bankable. I want to get this whole idea of banking versus non-banking, right? So the current system that we're in, non-banks fill certain gaps that banks are not able to reach, certain areas that banks are not been able to. But increasingly what we're seeing is that branch networks are going deeper. Banks are trying to tap into that customer base that they were so far not able to do that. How do you view this competitive landscape between banks and non-banks, sir?
If you look a little back, if you go wind down a little back, you will see that there were financial institutions, like ICICI, IDBI, IFC, etc., who were doing the long-term financing for industries, startup, big industries, etc. And banks were doing the lending, and maybe the non-banks which were doing the retail lending, maybe a vehicle loan, personal loan, etc. There was a scenario till about 30, 40 years back. But then these were dismantled, the ICICI, IDBI, IFC, etc. And banks were forced to take business there. And banks got into it, but then they had small issues that their liabilities were not that long term. But their loans, if they are giving to a big industry or a factory, etc., were long term. So they had some issues there. So what happens? Some of it turned bad. So banks had little issues there. So all those bad loans, etc., started mounting up, especially with the long-term loans.
Correct.
So then what happened? They thought we should also look at personal loan funding, small funding, vehicle loans, personal loans, MSME funding, etc. They started to get into a bigger way. I think some of the banks which the non-PSU banks were the first to enter that sector. And probably they started doing well. And then now the public sector banks also were forced to enter into that.
Correct.
So that is what has happened now. So they are also coming into the retail sector. Now the question is, banks have all the banks put together have a network of more than 60 to 70,000 branches all over India. And although they were not doing retail loans earlier, if they start doing all the branches doing a little bit of retail loans, it's a huge reach which they have.
Correct.
And I'm sure they are trying to take advantage of that also, because it will to a certain extent relieve them of the pressures of NPAs, etc., or big loans, and maybe go into the smaller loans. Now the second point is, what is the role? What is the future of the non-banks? Here I would like to add one small point. The nomenclature of non-bank, etc., is not that right. You start with a negative connotation. Non-bank. It should be financial institutions that are part. Now that everybody understands, you and I understand what is a non-bank, we have taken to look at that. So a non-bank, generally we're looking at smaller loans. They had more reach. And even today, the non-banks have reach where the banks are not fully present there. So it's not that non-banks are there only in very rural areas. No, they are also there in cities. They are on the outskirts of cities, etc. So there is still a scope, a need for the non-banks also to interfere or to intervene in the credit disbursal, the last mile credit disbursal. They are doing a good job.
Okay. Let me come to this question of last mile credit dispersal. So I'm trying to gauge what exactly is it that other institutions within the same landscape are missing that NBFCs, or as you said, financial institutions, are able to tap into. What is it that makes them different?
I think one of the things is that they have little more local knowledge, local flavor. So they are also able to decide on a loan with some of the local parts also introduced in it. For example, a customer walking into a bank, big bank, they may have to tick the boxes. This is right, this score is that, this score is there, then they may be able to give a loan.
Correct.
Whereas the non-banks can take an individual credit decisions.
Yeah.
And they are little better at that because the staff are local, they are local, and they are always sitting out there only. So that is where one big advantage is there, which the banks, big banks don't have. The big banks have the advantage of lower cost, but they don't have the advantage of the last mile reach, which is still there. Microfinance is a big example for that. The two-wheeler loans are a big example. Two-wheeler loans are a big example for that. Even the small personal loans are definitely a big advantage of that. And to my sector, our sector, the gold loan also is a big example of the last mile reach, which the non-banks have today.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up gold loans because that was going to be my next question. Muthoot Finance very widely known for its gold loan business, right? I mean, it's 88% of your current portfolio is gold. I'm trying to understand in the current economic scenario where people have money that they need. I mean, gold loans by definition are more short-term, immediate need sort of focused funding instruments. In the current environment where things are looking pretty good and people maybe have the money that they need, does that dampen anything for the gold loan business, a high growth economic cycle?
Today, whether you want to take any type of a loan from any institutions, today people look at your credit scoring, look at your track record, credit scoring. It is not that everybody has taken a loan and repaid it properly, etc. So they may not have a good credit score.
Correct.
Many people do not have a scoring at all because they have not taken loans from such institutions where the scores are happening. So for them, when they approach a lender and ask for a loan, especially without collateral, people are reluctant to give because they don't have any history. They don't have any credit history. They don't have anything to go back. So then quite often they are denied or they are unable to get a loan. But then gold loan is very quick. So as we know, it's a quick loan. You can do it in maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes. You give the gold ornaments, you can walk out with the cash. But then there, they do not look at your credit history because it is mainly, the loan is based on the collateral value.
Yeah.
So the collateral is where they look at, if the collateral is good, the customer is given the loan. Maybe the KYC is done just to identify the customer. Other than that, there is no need for any other backup mechanism other than the gold. So for an initial customer who does not have a good track record, etc., this is the easiest way. Even for people with a credit score, etc., sometimes it takes a little while to get the loan processed. Correct. So if it is a small trader, etc., he needs to give, so definitely some papers, some sanctions, etc. there. So then it takes some time. A gold loan is something which you can get in 10-15 minutes time, even for people without a credit score.
No.
So what is happening is people take initially a gold loan. After some time, probably after 1 or 2 repayments, his credit score also starts building up. So this can definitely, one use of this is to build a good credit score or reasonable good credit score for the people who are getting into the credit cycle or credit institutions. Then they can go around. So the second is somebody who needs quickly money, maybe in minutes, in hours, etc. There we call it as a bridge loan. So right. He's expecting some loan from somewhere, some loan is going to get passed from the bank or institutions where he has given the proposal. Takes maybe 1 week, 10 days, 15 days, he can use the gold loan as this. So these are the 2 things where people generally use the gold loan. It is used very widely.
Okay. Coming to the portfolio at Muthoot Finance at this point in time, so there is some amount of growth. Of course, the gold prices have helped on that front. I'm just curious to understand in terms of the forthcoming business scenario on FY24, what do you expect is going to be driving your core business? I'll come to the other businesses shortly, but your core business, what is going to be driving it? Is there a lot of demand for gold loans that you are seeing in the economy?
When you say there is no specific demand for gold loan, it is the credit needs of the people.
Correct.
So when there is credit need, you try to get all sorts of loans, and gold loan also is an important part. So when people need more money, when the economic activity is looking up, people need, the gold loans are typically taken by small traders, small businessmen, SMEs, etc. Very few people take it for maybe a home, purchasing something for the home, for a marriage or a school admission.
Correct.
Or people earlier thought that all the gold loans were a desperate loan.
Correct.
Actually, it's not a desperate loan
Correct.
at all. See, sometimes if you need a loan, you have to borrow from your neighbor, etc. And that doesn't look good. When you have the gold with you, you can go and take it. So, as I said, when economic activity is looking up, people need money. All sorts of loans go up, whether it is a vehicle loan, SME loans, bank loans, etc. go up. And along with that, the gold loan demand also is there. So we have seen that when the economic activity is looking up, gold loan definitely goes up. The second point you said about the gold price, it helps definitely people with limited quantity of gold.
Correct.
He's having limited quantity. He could borrow only 1 lakh. Maybe probably he can borrow 1,25,000.
Correct.
That is the second end.
Correct.
The third thing is when the price of gold goes up, there is a lot of visibility in the market for the gold. Newspapers, etc. report that gold price has gone up, and people all tend to have gold.
Yeah.
See, there is a big gold holding in India, probably estimated about 28,000 tons of gold. 28,000 tons of gold. And today, the organized lending market has less than 3,000 tons.
Okay.
So the rest is still there. It is for the mindset of the people to change, that they can use this as a quick loan. People still have that inhibition to take a gold loan. When we actually ventured from South, we are a southbound company, so we ventured into North probably about 35 years back. The concept of an organized gold loan business was not there in North at all, whereas it was relatively okay in South.
Yeah.
So when we went to Delhi, in fact my eldest brother, they are all in Delhi for the last several years, 30, 40 years there. Children are also born and brought up there. They went and offered this product. There was such a big resistance from people saying that जान जाएगा फिर भी हमारा गिरवी नहीं रखेगा, हमारा ornaments का गिरवी नहीं रखेगा. But then we had to do a lot of concept selling. We did a concept selling. I think at that time Mudra helped us. Mudra agency helped us and said, you being the leader of this, you have to do the concept selling. Because we were reluctant. If we do the concept selling, how are we sure that the business is going to come to us? But then they convinced us to say, being the leader, you have to take the first step. So we did a lot of advertising saying that this is something which you have in your house. एक लॉकर से दूसरा लॉकर. That was our watchword. एक लॉकर से दूसरा लॉकर. It is in your locker, bring it to this locker. You don't have to go to any neighbor, etc. and ask for money, ask for borrowing, and the people, this you can do it yourself. So that actually started the concept. And today, North India or non-South constitute little more than 50% of our business.
Right.
The South is only 50%. North, actually we started there. So people still have gold. It is for the people to have that, to change that inhibition or that reluctance to part with this idle ornament which is lying in your house, to give it for a productive purpose. So we have actually monetized this gold. Now look at something also back. When people were not having money, or that money is very tight, you still have gold with you, and you can actually borrow on the gold. Again, probably I may be cutting it too fine to say, if you take a personal loan or another loan, and if you default, what happens? They come after you. After some time, you have to recover. Finally, it is written off, or the customer dies as a debtor. Here, because the gold is there, even if you take a 1 lakh or a 2 lakh loan, you are still unable to repay it. The company auctions the gold, and your loan is recovered.
Yeah.
So you do not die as a debtor.
Okay.
You don't owe anybody any money.
Okay.
It was only the gold which was there. You monetized it. You tried your best to take it back. Your business failed. You are not able to take it back. What did you lose? You only lost the gold which was lying there.
Correct. Okay. When we are talking about the gold loan business, I think very important now is because there's a huge rush for this business from banks, right? At least since the RBI allowed them a higher LTV during COVID. I'm curious to understand, is this affecting your prospects at all, or are you seeing that, okay, let them learn it and then we'll see competitions later?
Again, I'll take the clock back a little.
Sure.
So we listed our company in 2011. And it is at that time our business, profits, everything started going public.
Yeah.
So then people saw that we were at that time in 2009, 10 and 11, we were opening about 800 branches every year. So today we have about 5,000 branches. Majority of it was opened in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We were opening around 500 to 1,000 branches a year. Got a lot of visibility. So then there was also a downturn in the economy in 2008.
Correct.
So many NBFCs started entering into this business. But this business is very much process oriented, because the customer has to trust you first to bring his gold of 100 rupees and take back 75 rupees from you. His gold actually is not 100. It is, if you add the making charge, etc., it is gold worth 125 rupees. So he's depositing 125 with you,
right,
and taking back 75. So he needs the trust.
Right.
You have to take the gold, you have to assess it, you have to keep it back safely, you have to return it. Safety, insurance, everything is an issue. So when new players just started entering it, after about a year or so, many of them lost interest. Many of them who started NBFCs, who started this, stopped that business.
Too much work.
Too much work, too much cumbersome, very labor intensive, and not a very white collar job also.
Correct.
But the banks, especially the south-based banks, were doing this for decades. Maybe in a small scale. They were all the Kerala-based, South India, Indian Bank, South Canara Bank, Syndicate Bank, all south-based banks were doing it in many of their branches they were doing. So they were aware of it. Even before all these things, they were aware of it. So when all these things happened in the last 3-4 years, and all the bad loans and NPAs, etc., mounted in banks, probably they also thought, let us also look at gold loans. So they started rolling out gold loans in most of their branches. Earlier they were doing it only in select branches. Now they started doing it in more and more branches. What has happened? They started advertising also. Because of that, as I said earlier, people who were reluctant to use gold as a source of finance also started using it. That means the market expanded. All those times, our AUM did not come down. Of course, our growth was affected. The banks also did a big growth there. But there were also reports that banks have actually done very great things. But there is one small caveat there. Banks were earlier also doing it, but it was in their books as agricultural loans, not as gold loans. So when there was a lot of visibility on one bank doing this much of gold loan, all the other banks also started then reclassifying their loans as gold loan and not as agriculture, because agriculture
it's not necessary that the book was evolved over the 3 years. It's many years before that.
It was still there. New book evolved, but majority of it is just coming up from there. And agricultural loans had a big advantage also. Agricultural loans given as gold loans, they were getting subsidy also. So customers used to get it at 4%, 5%. Although not always it is an agricultural loan. It was termed as agricultural loan. So that was what banks were doing. So, but anyway, that notwithstanding that, there was definitely growth in the banks. So banks also started doing that. But again, it is not a bed of roses. It is not easy. it is very much process oriented, because checking the gold, or Muthoot, we have all our appraisers are our staff itself. Right from manager to the clerk, they are experts in assessing that plan. But in banks, they actually use the service of an external appraiser.
Right.
Usually it is a goldsmith, etc. And we have had lot of bitter experiences with goldsmiths who are not actually right set of people.
Okay.
Because they are known for all these bad practices, and some of these practices end up as frauds, etc. in banks. Of course, they have, everybody has, but we don't have that such type of a fraud. Otherwise, all these, they join hands with some customers and try to do this. So, at every stage, even storage of it, safety, security, giving it back in good time is very labor intensive and process oriented. So, probably after some time, if a bank actually looks at the actual cost of operations of a gold loan, it is not profitable for them.
Okay.
They are now cross-subsidizing it with other things. That is why it is. Otherwise, at the rate of interest they are giving, the cost involved, it is. So, all said and done, they have actually started growing. We also had business. But then there was a non-level playing field for them, because our loan to value is capped at 75%. Whereas they were given the option of giving, during the COVID time, they were in the option of giving 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, etc. So that was a non-level one. That time our business got affected. We also raised this issue with the regulator, because we are both giving to the same customer.
Correct.
We are both giving Indian currency only. The risk is the same there and here. But then now I think they have started instructing the branches not to do this. Even now, some of the branches and banks have stopped this more than 75. Even now, some banks still do it. Anyway, probably a regulator must be asking them to desist from it. Probably it will take some time. But then that big, big thrust, big hype for the gold loan in banks is now dying off, and we are again seeing growth in gold loan business.
Okay.
As our company, in last 5-6 months, we have started doing very well. They go older, etc. And I think we should see more and more people using this. The market is very wide. It is only for us or our banks to tap this market as a good credit option. It is actually monetizing your idle asset. Everybody has this idle asset. This to be monetized.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about the asset quality scenario at this point in time. Yes, of course, you have the collateral which is worth way more than the loan. So, as a company, you're covered in terms of the recovery amount. But you have a peculiar practice of not immediately auctioning of gold once the customer defaults. Just tell me a little bit about how, as a lender, you're thinking about these things.
Actually, why does a customer come to X company to keep his gold? First, he wants the gold to be safe. He doesn't want to lose that ornament.
Yeah.
As I told, although the gold content is 100, his equity in that is maybe 125 rupees.
Yeah.
So he has invested 125, taken 75 from me. He has all the intentions of taking it back, because if he did not have an intention of taking it back, he could have sold the gold in the first place and got 100 rupees. But he did not sell it. He pledged it and took 75. Correct. Why? Because he is sure in his mind that after some time, I will get my money and take it back.
Yeah.
And second is, we have actually started the system of bullet repayment. We don't have an EMI for this gold. That is another convenience for this type of a loan. Any other loan you take, you have an EMI. That means monthly commitment. Here, there is no monthly commitment. We give the loan for 12 months. During this 12 months, he is free to take it at any time. So people take it back after 1 week also, 10 days, 1 month, 5 months, 8 months, 10 months, 12 months. And our average tenure is only 3 to 4 months. 3 to 4 months, the average tenure. From our experience, the loan is given for 12 months. By 12 months, 90% of the people have taken back the gold. Only 10% remain. For us, the NPA or the technical NPA kicks off, starts from there. It's 90 days from 12 months. So by 15th month, we have seen that 95% of the people have taken back. So if you give more time to them, they are prepared to take back. So Muthoot has always been seen as a more considerate company as far as auctioning their gold is concerned. So we give them little more time. So if they pay part of the interest or so, we give them even beyond 15 months. When we give beyond the 90 days, it is classified as an NPA. But we are 100% sure they have requested for money sometime and he will, in good intentions, pay it up. So instead of 15, we give them 1 or 2 or 3 months more.
Yeah.
So that even more and more people take it back.
Correct.
Finally, some people they are not able to take it back at all. Only that goes for auction. So the amount required for the auction is very little. And even when we auction, we will get 100% of our principal, probably 80 to 90 or sometimes 100% of our interest also. So there is nothing lost with this. But the customer satisfaction is very great. So customers see us as a company which is more considerate to them. And that is what allures customers to come to us. So when we look at other NBFCs also, all the other NBFCs are right around our branch only.
Correct.
We have a branch here, you have banks and NBFCs. And people have an option of going there or going here. But still,
people end up at
Muthoot. That is because the perception. The perception is we are seen as perceived as a more considerate NBFC.
Correct.
Probably our interest may be a little higher than a bank. NBFCs, we are definitely par or better than a bank for the customer, but his ornament will be with us for more time. That is definitely something which these people want.
So, challenge from fintechs is not really something that you're worried about.
So there was a lot of talk about fintech and fintech lending, where people used to give a loan through fintech, etc. But for a gold loan business, it cannot be done through fintech because customer has to either bring the gold to the branch or somebody has to go and collect it from him. So without the gold reaching the institution, a gold loan cannot be given. So then the fintech or fintech part of it can be used only for the money payment, money collection. We also do this. 80% of our customers transact their interest or principal through internet. So, but majority of them would like to come to the branch, but if they are not able to come to the branch, they can pay the interest online, they can pay the principal online, they can take top-ups on the loan online, they can take the principal also online. They come and give the gold here, we can credit it to their account. So many people use it. So for us, the fintech business is just restricted to the transactions, the financial transactions. The physical transfer of the gold has to come here. So when somebody says we want a home service, we can go and collect it. But very few people demand that, and we charge something for going and collecting. They would like to bring it here. But somebody says, I'm not able to come. Our branch manager goes and collects it. Whereas in many other companies, it is a third party who goes and customers are not very happy. As I said earlier, he is giving 125 and collecting only 75. So he has more risk than us.
Correct.
So people are generally reluctant to give it to a third person. But in our case, our manager or staff personally goes there and collects it.
Okay. I want to start wrapping up this conversation and the last few questions. To your mind, in the current macroeconomic scenario, what is exciting? What do you think is something that every lender has to watch out for and is something that will actually reshape the way lending happens in India?
So I don't know exact numbers, but I'm generally aware that in developing economies, the loans taken by an individual is much more than in India. Our per capita or per person has not really borrowed much, but there is a lot of scope for borrowing. And people's aspirations are also going up. See, all the TVs and advertisements you see, somebody who is having a cycle today wants to go on a two-wheeler, he's having a two-wheeler, wants to go on a higher one, he's having a TV at home, he wants a color TV. No, of course, no, there's no color TV. He wants a bigger TV, he wants to change his phone, he wants to send his children for. So people are prospering. When you prosper, you need more money also. And people are also feeling that earlier, maybe 50 years back, nobody used to purchase a car on hire purchase.
Correct.
If you had the money, you purchased it. If you had the money, you constructed a house. If you had the money, you paid that, you paid this. Now, everything is now revolving on credit. People are now more confident that, why is the credit? Because he is more confident that he can get a job or he can do business and repay. Earlier, when you were limited, you are not sure. Unless you have money in your pocket, you are not sure of tomorrow. Today, you are much more sure of tomorrow because probably you are better educated. There are more opportunities for earning, business, etc. So you are sure that you can make some money. That is why you are confident of borrowing. 50 years back, you are not confident of borrowing because you are not sure whether you are going to get a job.
Correct.
Or you are going to make more money. Today, you are more confident. Business is improving. You can do that business, this. So borrowing has improved, increased. So borrowing of any type has increased, whether it is a vehicle loan, home loan, personal loan, business loan, everything is improving. People are more forthcoming in taking loan.
Right.
And at that time, gold loan is, as I said earlier, the best opportunity, the first-time loaners and quick loaners. First-time loaners, quick loan, gold loan, there is no substitute for gold loan. Okay. And people are increasingly realizing that they can part with the jewelry which is in their house and do this and get into the, what should you say, credit, not credit cycle though, in the credit scenario.
Okay. Okay. Talking about the non-gold loan part of your portfolio, why is there still a slower growth compared to even your gold, for example? The non-gold is not growing as fast. It's about 12%, if I'm not wrong, about as of March. What is the strategy there, and how does that pan out in the next few years?
As a company, we have always been focused on gold loan. But of course, we also understand that non-gold loan business is also there. In gold loan, we consider, we feel that we are the masters there. We know everything. We know all the nuances of it. So, and we have also realized that gold loan, although it is process-oriented, difficult, etc., is exciting, it is profitable, and there is also scope for improvement. But then the growth there is not, you cannot grow gold loan very fast because I can't give 2 crores and 5 crores and 50 crores gold loan to somebody. It has to be built brick by brick. Average loan is even now only 70,000 rupees. So we have to only give smaller loans. But then, of course, we also would like to diversify our business to non-gold. But in non-gold loan, we are not the experts there. Right. We are not the leaders there.
Right.
In gold loan, we are leader. So our first focus will always be give gold loans as, if there is a demand, 100% our focus will be there. But then we are gradually building the other portfolio also. In the next 4-5 years, we would like to take this 12% to maybe 15 to 20%, non-gold loan. But whatever, wherever, even if you grow the non-gold loan, the gold loan is our focus. And we will not leave that opportunity on the table for somebody else. We will take it.
Housing, is that the main focus on the non-gold side?
Non-gold loan, today not focus, but if you look at the AUM, the microfinance is a big AUM. Housing, we just started 4 years back, but soon after that, pandemic, etc. came. So we went slow last 2 years. But now in the housing sector, we have now, my younger son is also involved as executive director. George Alexander is there. And a new CEO has also joined 2 months back. So probably today it is about 1,200 crores of portfolio. We should take it to about 1,900. Here also, this is a good secured loan.
Okay, fair enough. Lastly, I want to tackle this question because I would really like to understand how you are seeing the risk part of the discussion. Yes, opportunity definitely. Yes, there is people are borrowing, and there is room in India to improve the dissemination or distribution of loans for sure. But as a lender, what is the one or two risk pointers that you're looking out, saying that okay, we have to be mindful about this. Growth can continue on its own path.
See, as gold loan, our loan tenure is only 4 months.
Yeah,
So every 4 to 5 months, the whole portfolio changes.
correct.
So what we have to always see is that repeat business is our strength. Today, 80% of our gold loan customers are repeat customers. He has taken a loan now, he may come back, repay the loan, he may come back next month, after 3 months, after 1 year, after 2 years. So we have to be mindful of that customer, customer comfort and So if the customer is happy, he will come back again.
Yeah.
That is why I said we would always try to maintain our leadership as the most reasonable NBFC.
Correct.
That is against the gold loan. Gold loan, there is no risk otherwise. There is always a risk of maybe theft, fraud, etc., which we have a team of about 1,000 audit staff. 1,000 audit staff who go and check all these things. So we are able to restrict all those frauds, etc., to very, very minimal amounts.
Yeah.
And security safety also is a big threat for gold loan. There is burglary, dacoity. We have had at least 10 or 12 dacoities in the last 20, 30 years. Of late, we have also enhanced our security. We have an 8-layer security also. So the security part, safety, security of the gold is part, the frauds, etc., through audit. So gold is again only seeing that the customer goes back happy. If he goes back happy, he will sell himself or herself. As the other business is concerned, it has its own challenges. So we are not the leaders there. In housing loans, we are probably very low in the line. There are many others and good practices also there. We only need to take up the good practice there. In gold loan, we have to be the leader. Even the regulator usually finds out from us what are the steps we are doing.
Correct.
And probably informs the other gold loan also, please, why don't you also do what Muthoot Finance is doing. So in the other risk, the credit risk is there. All those other risks are, maybe the burglary risk is not there in such cases, but other things risk is there. So that, I think we are not the leader there. We only have to adopt the good practices which are done by the leaders in those sectors. Whether it's a vehicle finance or a microfinance or a housing loan, we have to only, or a personal loan, we have to adopt. So I think we have a good risk team, etc., for those. That is why we are now learning that only. That is why I said we are not the best or the biggest in the non-gold loan. Today it is 12%. We may take it to 20%. It's a learning curve also.
Yes. Yeah. All right, Mr. Muthoot, thank you so much for joining us and taking time out and talking to us, taking us through so many interesting insights and stories about Muthoot Finance and of course the industry. Thank you so much, sir.
It's a pleasure for me. It's a pleasure for me to explain to the world what Muthoot is doing, what is about credit, and I'm thankful to you and your BQ for giving me this opportunity.
Sure, sir. Anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you.